much incredible, like unbeatable home ice. It's a great crowd.
Let's check out their home. Yeah, 24, 13, and 1. That's not too
they've won
shabby.
70. Yeah, they're just on a big streak right now.
Yeah, 7 games in a row.
On the point of Eric Cole, I was just wondering, what do you think was the best transaction at the
That's not a bad
at
idea.
the trade deadline?
You know, I've got to think at this point it's what transaction wasn't made. And that seems to be the Canucks. Now, if anyone was watching NHL Trade Center, they'll know the Canucks almost traded 3 prospects, including Corey Schneider, Michael Grabner, and their other big prospect, Mason Raymond, and
Kevin Bieksa.
Kevin Bieksa, and a first-round draft pick.
You know what?
Jay
Here's what
For Jay Bouwmeester.
You know, I think the quote from Mike Gillis goes something like, "They talked on the phone for about a minute, and then he just laughed and basically."
Yeah, but the thing is,
ridiculous.
if that trade is made, I don't think the Canucks don't improve because BX is doing great right now. I think they'd improve, but the Canucks don't improve enough to make it worth it. And then in the future, they would have just busted themselves.
Basically, I think that would have Mike Gillis is obviously not stupid enough to make.
That's not the
like
only thing I'm thinking of. I'm thinking like, what if Vancouver makes a push for one of the big names? I think that's a bad decision. They have chemistry.
And I think Vancouver obviously didn't want to break up the chemistry they had. Smart decision. Now they're one of the top teams. They're one of the top teams in the West, and they're going to make a really strong playoff push this year.
Any votes by Peter?
Oh, and it's also good for Florida Panthers because of Jay Bouwmeester, because he's just one of like a really good solid puck moving defenseman.
Yeah, good non-trade by them too.
And because they would have no really great all-star defenseman on Florida Panthers if they traded him away. I mean, the X is good.
He's not
a
an
high-end
all-star.
defenseman, and their back end would be like pretty much depleted. I mean, they have Keith Ballard and some other good names, but they just need that good all-star defenseman with Jay Bouwmeester. So it worked out with both of them.
I also think maybe, yeah, I'm thinking ahead of the Canucks. The best trade easily came a little bit before the deadline for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They picked up Chris Kunitz. Then later at the deadline, Bill Guerin. They would not have made the playoffs without those trades, in my mind. And they have a very good chance of making it.
I think he was also a lot of the coaching played a big part in this too.
True, but you got to think it had something to do with. You got to think it had something to do with the trades they made, especially considering their players or their new players have been playing great.
And Ryan Whitney has been who they traded to Anaheim. I'm pretty sure
has been awful.
Yeah, he was injured for a long time, and when he returned, things weren't really working out for him. It was a good move for both of the clubs.
Now we're gonna take a little break to watch the rest of SportsCenter. So
long.
All right,
so long in a bit. Next. The next section will be me and Rob Sahota talking NBA.
All right.
This has been Sport-tacular section. Woohoo. Hello and welcome to the NBA analysis section of our show with Lucas Christopher, your lovely host, and
Rob Sahota,
who is a big Houston Rockets fan, I believe.
Yes.
But that's not the first topic we will be talking about. The first topic is about the playoff picture.
Yes.
That was a burn because I said your team wouldn't make it, but they probably will. Anyway.
They will.
Yeah, now let's check where they are in the standings.
They're
currently 5th in the West. Now, in the West, who do you think has the best chance of making it to the Western Conference Final?
Easily the LA Lakers. You know why?
Why?
Because of Kobe Bryant. He can carry a team. They got Pau Gasol, big man at the bottom, down low. They have everything with their team. And Kobe Bryant, he's just an amazing player. She can just light up a team just like that.
He can win single-handedly. Yeah, I'd have to agree. Although I'm looking through the standings here, and I'm finding this Utah Jazz. Now they may be far down in the standings, but I don't believe Denver is that strong of a team. They might be second. I just don't believe they're too strong, considering they only have 3 more wins or 4 more wins than Utah. I think Utah has a very good chance at beating Denver.
I would go with Denver. You know, because they have Chauncey Billups. Chauncey Billups is a great passer, great playmaker. He can give it to the wide open player. They shoot, and they're like great shooting team. And I'm pretty sure the Denver Nuggets will easily beat the Utah Jazz.
Okay. Interesting. Now, the problem about this race is that, oh, sorry, we're just watching SportsCenter, and apparently, Gary Sheffield's been signed, and that's always sweet. Anyway, bleeding ulcer for Ichiro. That's really, really gross. But back to NBA. There's only one possible team not in the playoffs right now that could make the playoffs in the West. That team being the Phoenix Suns. Max, shut up, honestly. That team being the Phoenix Suns. Now, they do have a very good chance of making the playoffs if they continue their recent success, in which they have been 7-3, compared to the team right ahead of them, Dallas's 5-5. Now, do you think Phoenix has a chance at the playoffs? And if they do you think they have a chance of beating the Lakers?
Well, they can make a big playoff push. They have Shaq, who's been picking it up, even though he's an old player. He's a veteran, and he's basically a big force in the post. And he can dunk it. People are basically, some players are scared of him. Just give him the easy dunk. He's a beast. Steve Nash. Yeah. Yeah, he just dives into the players.
That's of course a little shout out to him diving into the fans.
And yeah. Anyways, Steve Nash, I think he's picked it up. Stoudemire, even though Stoudemire's out for this season with his eye, Steve Nash has picked his role up as the point guard. He's been driving more, getting more buckets, getting about the same amount of assists, and he's finding the open man, going down low, passing to Shaq. They're hitting the threes, but the thing is, their defense can be a bit better, you know.
Yeah, they have a weak defense.
They just allowed, I think, 111 points
against Sacramento. Although they did score, aren't they top in the league for scoring? Because they scored 139 points.
Yeah.
Although it's not much of a feat against the worst team in the NBA, it's still not that bad.
Yeah, but it was a good win. They needed it, and yeah, I think they'll make it over Dallas.
You think they'll pick it up late?
Yeah, they'll pick it up for sure. But thing is, LA Lakers. That's my pick.
Yeah, so you don't think they're gonna win?
So I think they're gonna get crushed.
So looking to the East, it's way more open. It seems that only one team is eliminated, that being Gilbert Arenas' Washington. Washington Wizards. Washington Wizards. Thank you very much. Even the Toronto Raptors have a chance at the playoffs. Now, just to be biased towards Canadian teams, do you think Boston, or I guess they're not actually Canadian, do you think Toronto has much of a chance? Do you think Toronto has much of a chance, even if they make the playoffs?
Not at all. I think they should have.
Way to be optimistic.
Yeah. Okay. They should have kept Sam Mitchell. He's a great coach. One of the best in the league.
It's true.
And they just gave away Jamar Emlin, I heard.
Yeah, they traded him to Miami at the trade deadline.
Yeah, they needed him.
It's quite a long way back.
Yeah, they needed him. But they got Sean Marion.
They do have Sean Marion.
But he's been picking it up. He's finding a role, you know. Basically, Chris Bosh, main player, he's been getting points. Calderon, Anthony Parker, AP is.
AP, I like
yeah, that's AP.
Inside joke, but that's a good one. Okay.
Yeah, he's been getting points. He's a big role. Sean Marion was a great pickup, I think. He'll be force soon enough.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. But at the same time, they really don't have much of a chance this year. Now, as you can see, Detroit, Chicago, Charlotte fighting for those last spots. Who makes it? Who doesn't?
Well, Detroit.
And why? Please.
Yeah. Okay. So Detroit just lost to Allen Iverson because of his back injury.
Out for the season.
He's out for the season. Allen Iverson, their point guard,